So just a quick review of what's going on here. We can see overnight inventory is pretty much 100% net long. Um, we had a break of the previous day's high. It explored above. The market opened inside yesterday's range, looked above yesterday, and then has since traded down, and looks to be forming a little bit of a balance down here after this kind of sell off, right? We're still watching this B high as excess for me on the high, and the C low as excess as we get accepted, inside yesterday's value. You can see we poked down below yesterday's value and we're met with a strong responsive buying, unable to get back to the settle there. And then we just had, cessation of one time framing here in the D period, and that just lets us know that, today is probably going to be a little bit more rotational than directional based as we were, seeing early on with the A, B, and C period, just one time framing down. I think Bitcoin getting us a boost right here. Little pop right there, just ran about 200 bucks. The market still looks kind of, overall market still looks like chunky. If we look around the market here, um, we can see Apple's green up about 3%, Microsoft's flat, Google's green, Amazon's green almost up 3%, Tesla's getting smacked pretty hard, Facebook's up 11% and running, and we're starting to see the market turn a little bit green here as we're seeing information technology really kind of bring us up. You can see the tick is getting, ooh, there goes a big spike in the tick right there. Um, but we're seeing higher and higher ticks, but just not seeing the weighted sectors get on board yet and start really buying it up. That could cause a big spike going into later today, especially if the market starts to get back up towards these single prints or starts to test above the open after what pretty much just looked like a liquidation or a correction of overnight inventory, with overnight inventory being 100% net long once it got below the open. So getting above the open with some volume could really start to unwind this thing to the upside. And I wouldn't be surprised with something like that just because, we're in a pretty rotational market right now. Back at that 10 level, right? This 10 level has been a very key level lately. Let's see if we can take this B high. It's getting there pretty close. We're getting kind of back to that half pipe. Let me go ahead and get rid of overnight. Everything's getting bought up right here, guys. No follow through here. You're seeing a lot of buying. Morning, Adam. We're seeing a lot of buying, but we're not seeing a lot of follow through. So they were able to run those stops. Bitcoin's popping. This would have been a nice trade. I was taking. We can see on Bitcoin here, you know, we have a pretty, balanced profile. You move up a little bit, start to find some rejection. We look back into yesterday's value, quickly get bought up, strong reaction off that point of control, and you can see the market starting to go now. Starting to get some volume up here. That 1450 is the spot that these buyers need to get above and hold here. Do it. Morning, Trin. Nice. Yeah, that's a good one. Right off the half back too. Yeah, that's the only thing that's kind of making me a little bit nervous is I want to see buying above the 1450, and then that D low just looks a little bit mechanical to me, so get kind of tight. I've had an interesting day today trading. To be honest, I have been cutting all of my trades short today. I'm just so untrusting of the market, and I don't know. I mean, my first short was at this first short at my first short of the morning was at 28. Was at 28. So I had great entry. I shorted once we broke down below the open, but I just, kept cutting trades and getting back in them, kept cutting trades and getting back in them. And I was on the right side of the market, thankfully, but a good lesson for that on days where that's happening to you, and that's kind of what I had to do, is just stop trading for a second. When that's happening to you and you're not, it's kind of letting you know that you don't have the feel, right? You're like, okay, something's off. Like, I don't have the feel, especially on days where you're like, oh, I'm nailing it. And then you go days like this. And so what I did was, I just was like, you know what, I'm just gonna wait a little bit, wait for this thing to do what it wants to do, and then maybe find a trade. Because I think I was just so certain of the trade that I wanted it to work, but it was just, I don't know. Hopefully that's beneficial. Martin, what's up, my man? Exactly. Yeah, and like today, I think I've traded probably, let me see. Lots have I traded? 13, 14, 15, 16, 16 lots, or 16 trades, I guess. 16 trades total. Um, and half of them I have closed for like either +2 ticks or -2, like basically a break-even trade. Because I was doing the exact same thing. I was like, that's gonna go, it's gonna go, and then I'm like, it's not going up, flatten. And then as soon as I'd flatten, it'd start going up, like, fuck, try to get back in, and then I'd be like,
Yeah.
then I'm unsure. I did catch a decent trade early on from the 10 below, which, makes my day not bad. But yeah, I've just been, it's just, on those days like that, it is better to just take that step back and, just watch for a little bit and see what you can find. Now we're starting to see some buyers come in above this 1450 here. They're just not getting any follow through. They're getting absorbed right here, it kind of looks like. I might be able to get. Can I briefly explain the trading room and membership? Um, there's no, so basically what I've decided to do, um, is just not charge ever. There's just no, it's just not what I want to do, right? Because basically, if I am to charge for a trading room, then I'll be like subject to being there every single day. And the whole point of doing this is to just be able to do what I want to do all the time. So, there's no like membership. Everyone could be in the trading room. You have to ask me. Boom.
Yeah, I like that approach.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
just
I always hated feeling like you had to be, you had to be here too. And I'm like, man, it would suck to be like free and be able to have the skill, and then always feel like you kind of have to, you know?
yeah. Oh no, that's exactly, yeah. That's kind of exactly it. And it's like, you know, the people that are going to come and tune in and want to learn are going to come and tune in and want to learn regardless. And there's no point to give them a reason not to. And everyone has, you know, different circumstances and stuff. And honestly, like, I don't need the money. You know what I mean? Like, I all the money that we've gotten on YouTube, I've just donated anyways. So, you know, there's no, I don't know. I think a lot of the people that are probably charging for like trade rooms and stuff, might not trade much. Or, you know, I mean, unless they have a team, right? Unless they had a team, that'd be a different story, because it just becomes a lot of work. And then sometimes their mission is different. Like my mission, like I said, is to be able to do whatever I want to do. So like if today I wanted to pack up and I wanted to go to TJ's house and just fucking hang out or whatever, you know, wrestle with the boys or something. I don't want to feel like, oh fuck, I gotta do that stream, and then, you know, that's not going to be over until whenever it's over. And it just, you know, I don't know.
Yeah,
I would rather
I've
just
definitely been
have
there.
you guys
Like
learn.
once you start feeling obligated, it can just take the joy out of doing it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And I really do enjoy this, and that's a perfect way to put it, actually, TJ. That's a perfect way to put it, because I really do enjoy doing this. But yeah, once it turns into work, then I'm like, then it takes it, it like almost burns you out, because you feel like you have to.
The other thing is the success is now on everyone else, because you're not making it about you having to teach them. It's their responsibility to tune in and learn.
Right. And honestly, I honestly think this is where the best lessons come from when we're talking about the profile or trading in general. I think it's so hard to learn. I mean, it's good to learn out of a textbook, but then, I mean, this is one of those skills, like, you know, you can watch Michael Jordan dunk a basketball all day, but it doesn't mean the next time you go in the gym you're gonna fucking dunk a basketball. You know, like, so the best way to learn is to play. There's not, not saying that practice is any less important than the game, but just, you know, one of the best ways to learn is going to be application.
Yeah, till you get on the court, you ain't making much progress.
Yeah, exactly. Biden's on right now, so he's just talking about stuff we're sending to Ukraine. I'm just watching Twitter. If he says anything interesting, I'll share it. Where can I find the tools that you use? Thanks, Andrew. I appreciate it. Is that Andrew? Is that? Oh, where's my? Which Andrew is that? Is that a new Andrew? We got a lot of Andrews. So Martin, just go in the Discord, and then under um, Kevin's type in. Under, well, I'll just have to go in there and but definitely time to short. I mean, it's struggling here at this 14 level, but we haven't seen any real pushback I mean, I'd want to see it get below that 10 and stay below that 10 in order to, for it to start looking down towards this. Oh, no, actually, normally Biden's a pumper. He's been the Biden pump lately. Yeah, normally the dump doesn't come till he stops talking. Normally he's out there just, shooting good information. Market's catching up here. Old Andrew. Oh, okay. Well, good to have you back, man. Glad to see you. Martin, this is Sierra charts. There's a lot of platforms that provide the tool, the market profile and the TPO. This is just the one that I'm using. There's NinjaTrader also, and there is Quant Tower. There's a bunch. That D high looks mechanical right there, kind of off the half back of it. Now he's talking about food. James is back in the mainland. We're about to go to some Brazilian steakhouse this weekend. It's gonna be bomb. All right, back below that 14 level here. So watch the reaction on the 10. A little bit dumping pretty good here. There's a lot of selling coming in. But I want to see it get below that 10 and hang out below that 10 for a second before I start to get in there short. Hey, Pop. What's up? Oh, Brazilian steakhouses? Yeah, they're the bomb. James and I used to go to Brazilian steakhouse when we were in Korea all the time. James could get kicked out of a all you can eat buffet. He's a monster. He can eat.
I don't know why. When I think of James, sometimes I think of like the guy on the Moana movie.
Yeah, so do I all the time. Yeah. What's the character's name? Oh, fuck, I can't remember. But yeah,
I
I know
was
what you're talking
on
about.
it too.
That's such a good movie. My aunt is like she owns property in Hawaii, and she's been going back and forth to Hawaii like pretty much her whole life. Um, and she said that movie was actually done like really accurately as far as like Hawaiian culture and stuff. So that was pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool. I've always wanted to go to Hawaii or somewhere tropical like that. I hadn't done it yet though.
Oh, Hawaii's fucking awesome. Yeah, definitely. Can all your boys swim?
Yeah, they can all swim.
Oh,
Our youngest one's not like super strong because he's only like 5, but he can swim. Yeah.
Oh yeah, then you're good to go. When I was in Hawaii one time when I was a kid with my dad, we were like out snorkeling in like this little cove, and this turtle popped up like right next to me and scared the shit out of me. I thought it was a shark. And so like I just like turned and just like started just hustling as hard as I could back to shore, and I hit my foot on the turtle shell and got back, and my foot was just gashed open, bleeding everywhere.
Oh man.
I was scared. I was like, I think I was probably like 13 or 14 maybe.
Oh, geez.
Just terrified.
Yeah, we got to go snorkeling. What was that, a year ago?
Were we
And
terrified?
that was so much fun.
What was that, Kevin?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt him. What were you terrified of?
Oh, a turtle. Like a big ass turtle. Like,
I was saying, bro, them turtles can get big.
yeah, it was like as big as me. I mean, at the time, for sure, it probably was as big as me.
And I saw one of those wildlife shows, whatever, where some turtle was hauling ass, doing like full sprint, like you know, pretty cool.
Oh yeah, turtles can jam in the water. It's just outside of water they're worthless.
Have you ever tried like surfing or anything?
Yeah.
Are you good at that kind of stuff, like snowboarding or skateboarding or anything? I've never tried surfing, but I figured it'd be cool.
Surfing's I'm pretty good at snowboarding and skateboarding. I haven't skateboarded in a long time, but I've been snowboarding pretty recently. Surfing is a little bit more difficult because you have to get up, and so like if your core is not strong, it just makes it super difficult. And it's a lot of surfing is a lot of work. Like that's why you don't see you don't see very many overweight surfers because it's a ton of fucking work to surf. I stick to boogie boarding, it's easier.
Yeah, I imagine just paddling out there, man. You're like dead almost.
No, the worst part is paddling in sometimes. Like once you get way out there, I mean, it depends on how far the waves are out. But like sometimes
You're like working against some kind of thing.
yeah, and then depending upon like where the current's going is like you'll leave the shore at a certain spot and you'll be, fucking quarter mile down the shore. So then you gotta, just paddle in and then walk all the way back to wherever your site's at. It's just surfing is tough. It's a lot of work. My buddy,
I don't know if they're called. I
oh,
think they're not like skim boards, but those boards like people start on the beach and they're like running full speed, you throw them down, and actually like go out into the water and then like ride the wave and then come back.
oh yeah.
Have you seen those? Man, those look fun. Those look fun.
In Hawaii, the current is so strong that you can actually, well, might have just been the boogie boards that we had because we had these like we rented like these plexiglass, or not plexiglass, like what would you call that? It's like almost like a plexi material, like a plastic plexi material on the bottom. And you could stand up. Maybe I don't think it was fiberglass because it was like maybe it was fiberglass. It's like what cars are made out of now, pretty much. Like it's like a plasticky material, but it wasn't very bendy. But like you could stand up on them, and they had little grip spots on them, so you could actually like surf the waves on your boogie board. You just had to stay like the closer waves, I don't know if I would surf a big wave on a boogie board, but
Yeah, I would love to try it. I would just hate the feeling of like never knowing what's under you. Once you get out there, it's like, especially in Hawaii, like there's great whites and everything else out there, I'm sure.
yeah, I'm not. The older I get, the more I become aware of shit like that, and the more I'm like, I'm like, nah, like, nah, I'm good. Like I like water.
What state are you in?
Me?
No, TJ. That's what state he's in.
Yeah, I'm like Alabama, Georgia area. So normally we go down to like Florida or like the Gulf of Mexico.
Gotcha. There's not a lot of surfing there.
Yeah. You'll be lucky if you get like a 2 or 3 foot wave every now and then.
Yeah, I'm excited to go. We're gonna go to we're back below that 14 level, guys, here. So watch kind of like this. This is kind of a key spot where you see like we're seeing the volume come in, right? We got above the 14, we saw some volume come in, but then all of a sudden this little cliff formed, and now we're kind of trapped in this little area here. they need to get continuation, or else what's probably going to happen is we've got mechanical sellers here. We had mechanical buyers here. We're going to get trapped inside yesterday's value. And so the market's going to become extremely rotational. It's going to be tough to get a move going until, you know, other time frame traders or larger time frame traders decide that they're ready to move the market up or down. Yeah, I'm excited to go to the East Coast in North Carolina and see what the weather's all about, or the waves are all about. I heard the water's warmer over there too.
Super warm. It's like piss warm. And I hope you like jellyfish.
In California, we don't really I mean, there's jellyfish, but not a ton. But the water is cold as
They closed the beach last
fuck.
time I was in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Seriously, the water's
Nice.
cold over there.
I mean,
figured,
well,
like,
where I'm at, like I'm
like
in,
here.
yeah, I mean, I'm up
Yeah,
like
totally cold.
San Francisco area, so like the water's cold up here. San Diego, it's not bad. Like, San Diego, the water was probably like 65, 70 degrees when I was there last time.
Oh wow, jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, Carolina's
Last time I
bad
went to the beach, I think the water was like 73, and that was on like the cold part of the year.
Oh yeah, down in the Gulf, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, we got fucking cold water. San Francisco's just full of great white sharks. That's how I don't understand how people, like, when they jump off the Golden Gate Bridge and live, they don't just get eaten by a shark. But I guess great whites don't really eat people. They don't really eat people fish. So look at that. We come right back down to that point of control and then bounce back up here. So this is gonna be key. We need to see initiated buyers here to break this mechanical high and get some continuation. Looking to get over that 2150 here. See if they can do it. See, they keep just kind of puttering out here at the top. Big sauce. Go.
Brad, are you streaming on YouTube?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
I think so.
I thought it was until you said that.
No, I am. Yeah. Right there. Yeah, Adam. They would kick James. Well, they wouldn't kick us out, but they would be like, so the Brazilian place that we used to go in Korea, they would bring like all the beef stuff that they bring by, which is always fire, and then they'd bring by like some sausage and some chicken, and we'd be like, nah, we don't want that. We want the beef. You know, bring us the garlic beef. Bring us like the good stuff, and you know, then they'd be like, you dine and you dine too much, and then kick us out.
There's a Brazilian steakhouse. I can't think of the name of it. It's like an all-you-can-eat that you'd probably like.
Mm.
They walk around and you have like a card. It's like a green and a red. And you like
Yeah.
want more food. You like over. Can't think of the name of that place though.
If James was here, he would know. I think we're about to take a spill back down to that 4,200. If they start getting below that 10, that 10 level is gonna be the last straw. It looks like that's kind of where buyers are at, like 10 to maybe like 775. Biden said he's not concerned about a recession. Market went down off that. Biden says that no one should be making idle comments about nuclear weapons, about use of nuclear weapons. U.S. carrying out training for Ukrainians outside of Ukraine. I can't get below the 10. I'm just...
Fogo de Chao. That's the name of it.
Oh, Fogo de Chao. Yeah. Yeah, we went to James and I went to one of those in Cincinnati when we were in Cincinnati, Fogo de Chao.
You gotta really like meat to eat that place though.
I love meat. And I mean, you don't even have to really like meat to eat that place because they have a ton of other food. Like a lot of times the sides that they serve at Brazilian steakhouses are just fire. And then they make this dessert where they like
Yeah.
flambe bananas and like fucking brown sugar. Oh, dude, it's so good. And then they serve this drink. I don't know what it's called, but it is strong, very strong. Let's see if they can break this week here. So notice how much price is hanging out up here at these highs as volume is just slowly building up and building up, right? So what you can imagine here is that it's getting a little bit tighter between these shorter term time frame traders, right? You've got people selling the high of this bar and then people trying to buy higher and higher and higher. So eventually at some point something's got to give and you're going to get either, you know, a breakdown or a break up, and it seems like, you know, the we're just putting in these parameters, right? Like if we look at this profile like this here, you know, you're kind of getting these, you know, we have this excess here, but kind of getting a rejection up here, and it just seems, you know, for some reason they're not breaking it, but price isn't retreating at all either. Every time it does comes back to volume, comes back up. It just starts to get a little bit, you know, scary once it gets down in here because there's not really much support through here until you get back to, you know, back down to where we have these 3 TPOs in a row, 4 TPOs here at like 202. Yeah, it's all about the meat, especially the beef. Yeah, that's the good stuff. And the cool thing about a steakhouse in San Francisco like that, um, it was the same way in Korea too. Actually, the Brazilian steakhouse was actually a Brazilian dude. He just ran it all by himself. But the San Francisco is such a melting pot. You know, people from all over the world. So there'll be like legit Brazilians that run the steakhouse. So get that authenticity. That always makes things better. It's like, where's the best Mexican food? Drive around until you see somebody selling food out of their house. Boom, found it. So we've knocked on that door twice now. That E high and D high. That's the second knock. As the market bids back down and, you know, looks for buyers to see if it can have a third knock. Just remember, below the 10, it starts to get a bit slippy. So let's watch this auction a little bit closer as we're getting down close to this 10, guys. And just be careful here. If they don't find a bid and hold this thing above this 10, you could see a spill down to, around that 2 level, or 225, where like the current value is pretty much at 225. See them trying to hold it, right? Giving the sellers an opportunity. Hey, do you guys want to initiate price right here? Do you want to push the price down? We do have the overnight point of control and, the past 2 days point of control at this area, which is why I think, this is kind of a bounce area. And it was a big level yesterday, this 10 level. And if it was a big level yesterday, people valued it yesterday. It's the same idea today. They're going to look to value it today. Keep bouncing around it. Starts to get under it. Gets. Sellers aren't really moving down right there. People just seem to be buying that D half back. Don't. It looked like they cleaned it up. Looks got some buyers stepping in on the 8 right there. Starting to get that volume nodule right there on the 8. And notice here we're having 4 TPOs wide up here now. We had 4. We have 4 right here, and then 4 up here in this area. Here, and just one little fourth TPO here. We compare it to yesterday's value, we're still inside. So today's this inside value area day. Why we're getting all the chippity choppity. Yeah, the real deal. Yeah, from the source. Like people like, I love Korean barbecue. Like, you ever been to Korea? Right there. It's like sushi in Japan. Just like fucking, just as fresh as it gets. Bitcoin's coming down a little bit here. Starting to see a little selling in financials here. And the selling in the weighted sectors is starting to pick up a little bit. The breath has flipped to red as well. Roller coaster day. Yeah, it's just a back and forth, back and forth. Yeah. Oil's getting a little pump here. Selling an Apple and AMD right here. Starting to get a little bit low here. Sellers trying to move down here, but they just seem to be getting, you know, not seem to be getting any follow through. Here we go, selling all over the board here. Watch this low volume area as we get to it. See how it trades. A little bit of response there. Still selling. Remember we said 250 is the spot we expect some more buyers to show up at. Right here where there's the 4 TPOs. 52.75 actually. I need to get amped. I need to do some fucking jumping jacks or something. Come on. Get down here and pay us a little bit. Do you trade pre-open? Yeah, Martin, I do. Yeah. I just don't stream it because I got a lot going on in the mornings, like with getting my kids ready and shit for school. So then it just becomes, it's hard to divide my attention between the stream and getting my kids ready and trading. But I'm normally on the computer every morning, like 5:30 Pacific time. And then I got like, things that I do in the morning too. Like I do a lot of stretching in the morning, get like, a lot of scanning around the market just to see how everything's overnight trading went, see if anything's gonna be opening out of balance. Just kind of getting a general outlook on things. Typically um I'll look at oil, look at gold, look at bonds, the ZNs, look at the ES obviously, and then take a peek at, some of the bigger names that are trading, like Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Tesla, things like that, to see how they're trading pre-market, see if there's a little bit, of a little bit of action going on, and see if we can kind of figure out what the markets are trying to do. And then after we, figure out what the markets are trying to do, we just try to figure out if they're doing a good job doing what they're trying to do. And if they are, then we'll go with them. And if they're not, then we'll wait for them to get too far, whichever way that they were trying to do, and go against them. Been working out pretty good lately. So before we get, just overly, bearish and think that this thing's going to just fall out of the sky, we want to be taking a step back all the time and comparing what the market is doing, right? So we have these 3 lower days that seem to be developing a balance, right? The key issue here, or the key thing to pay attention to that I think people forget, is they see something like this and they're like, oh, this means we're gonna pop, right? But value is overlapping to lower, right? And I wouldn't be surprised if we pop up and fill in this weak structure here that we have, and before returning down, right? We gave a little peek above yesterday's high today, and I kind of think today was, I honestly thought today was gonna be like more of an inside out day, or an outside in day, where you open up above and then get below, and we still could do that, but it's just not with conviction as much as I thought it was going to be with a little bit of conviction. Really, so this is kind of telling us that people are starting to be a little bit less fearful than they were yesterday, and price is not really trading as low as it did. The VIX still hasn't broken its high from yesterday, so it's still down here a little bit. It's about 30.9. Nowhere, no, I'm not saying that it is low by any means, right? 30 is very elevated, so there is definitely some fear in this market, which just kind of means how emotional the market can be, right? So typically, if we have a VIX that's over 30 and we use the rule of 16s, we're looking at close to a 2% possible move in the trading day. You can see the market getting a little bit of a bounce there, which makes sense because that's where we expected buyers to be at, right? And so when we're seeing this kind of thing, that nobody is really taking control, the best thing you can be doing is just being patient and looking for these trades, or really just waiting for these trades to get overextended. So whenever we see the market get a little bit overdone to the upside, there's opportunity to fade. And kind of the same thing on the downside today. As much as it might seem like, hey, as soon as we break this low, that I want to be getting short and pushing down under, we can see the volume as these profiles have both broke the low. In comparison, yeah, we did get some volume here, got some volume here, haven't got down to that level yet. So this is the level we'll look for a reaction at. That's the settle. So perfect, right? You might get some mechanical buying, but hold below that, then we could take the low. But you're not really seeing any you're not really seeing any bigger money or smart money pushing the market any direction. And I think that has a lot to do with Apple, and Amazon's earnings are today too, but I don't think they're as important as Apple. And also we have the Fed next week. Tuesday. Back below the 10 here. Yo, yo, amigo. What's up, Mr. Red? Let's see if they hold below the 10 here, guys. I mean, it seems like they're trying to sell here, but they're just struggling to get price lower is what it looks like. It just looks like they don't have any oomph or any want. They're just letting it drift back and forth, which is pretty, pretty normal on a range bound day. But you're looking here, you need to see buyers hold above this 15, and then you want to see sellers hold below a 10, and it just, price is just kind of trapped right here. We better just be patient and wait for this thing to make a decisive decision of what it wants to do. We've got about 4 minutes until the next period opens up too, so the next TPO opens up, so you could just get a little bit of settling here, and then once the next TPO opens up, it might just give us some insight or some direction. You are seeing some selling in the weighted sectors here, but the rest of the market is not really appreciating that. Look at Facebook today too. He's not doing bad, but I mean, Facebook's up 14%, but you can look at the day. Look at just the cash session. I mean, when you look at something like this, if I showed you this and I said, "Hey, you think this thing is up or down?" You'd say, down. Looks down, right? It doesn't. All this whole move was after hours, and now this Facebook is just kind of settling. And really, get below this, Facebook gets below that, it's probably just gonna shit again. But if it doesn't get below that, probably pretty decent move because you have good excess on today's day's low. Same as our profile here, right? We have excess, which represents that selling tail, and a poor high, weak high, and off that A. Yeah, market is crazy up and down today. That's Mr. Red. Good. Yeah, don't fall for that FOMO. Get in trouble. Sellers sure are giving it the college try though here. All right, so they hold the 10. Watch the 15 here on this bid up. F period opens up. Go back to the 10. They brought it up to like 1450. Weren't able to quite get to that 15. Go to the 10, bounce off the 10. But really, I mean, for the past like 30 minutes, it's been just trapped right here in between this 15 and 10. See if they can bust it. Biden says that he will discuss plans for student loan reduction in the next few weeks. So it goes back up there, can't get it. Now it goes back below the 10. Let's see if the sellers can give us some direction here. We're just back and forth. Just one of those days where it's just like, come on. You got your stick out and you're like, do something. Oh yeah, I wanted to send that video to up above the 15 and see if they can get continuation here. DJ, I just look on Twitter, and I don't pay for anything. So on Twitter, I follow this guy right here, um, called Fast Stock Market News. I'm just pulling up Twitter real quick. Um, Fast Stock Market News with two S's, and he just posts everything. And I just look at my phone, like I just have him on like pop up, and so like everything he posts, like he just pops up, and then I just read it to you guys. Yeah, so I mean the best place to get news is Twitter for sure. It's definitely the fastest news. Um, for sure, in my opinion. And I mean, there's not really the next level up of news, honestly, is to get like the Bloomberg terminal. And that's gonna run you like 20K a year. And I've been really contemplating it. I was actually talking with my wife about it last night, and she's like, "Do you actually need it?" Well, this is America after all. So, but I don't need it. You know what I mean? We don't fucking need it. We've got enough. We just need Twitter. If I was trading like stocks and other commodities a lot, then yeah, we're in a lot of red in the market here, guys. We got above that 15, couldn't get any continuation. Now we're back below the 10.
Brad, I was going to ask you this morning before the live stream started, you had mentioned like where you had originally like got short at or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And like I know today was a little different. You were saying like you're in and out, but on a on a typical trade or like an ideal trade, say you're starting with 3 lots or whatever, you're maybe just talk. I was just wondering if you could like maybe talk me through like your ideal scenario, like because I was wondering because like A came down a lot. I'm thinking okay, it probably hit your first. You probably sold your first lot, covered your first lot, maybe your second lot, and I was looking at how far B went down, and I'm like, when C starts coming all the way back up, I'm like, I wonder if like for his third lot, like your runner or whatever, like are you good with it coming all the way back to your entry because you got in a really good spot, so you're waiting for it to continue to fade down? Or are you thinking like, no, I'll just cover here and get back in later, but then if you get back in later, your entry might not be as good, so then it might be more risky. So I was just curious to like what your overall like ideal trade scenario, how it kind of works and how far you're looking for all 3 points.
Yeah.
Just
So
curious.
my trade today, so after we opened, right, it came up, hung out, it came back down to the open, and I shorted as soon as it broke the open because when it came down to the open, nobody bought. There was no buyers here, none. So that just showed me the weakness. We got above yesterday's high and nothing. Got back below the open almost instantly, and I mean I literally just uh sold the bid. I was just I forced my way into the market. I only got in with 2 lots because I really did, it moved pretty quick and I didn't want to chase. And I took my first take profit was at 12, which was the overnight point of control, and it did do a lot of this on the way down, but my first take profit was at 12, which is where that overnight point of control was at. And then my I was trying to trail volume, and then when B opened up, it just went like this, got me, and then went down. And that's when I was like, fuck, let me get back in. And then all of a sudden I was negative, so I cut it, and then it went back up, and I was like, oh, that's not a bad spot, let me short. It came back down a little bit, I closed it. I mean, and then I just started turning into a mess. But ideally, I really, the entry there was great, right? If you nail the top, that's awesome. I was a little bit more patient today because I was kind of afraid. We know there's stops up here, so I'm a little bit nervous about a short covering rally to the upside, and I don't want to get caught in that. So I waited, and we got good tempo that broke the open. You didn't see any mechanical buyers on the open, so I figured, okay, they must be lower. I'll just sell into them. And ideally, my first take profit was the perfect spot, that point of control. We literally came right down to that overnight point of control, got a little bounce. And so what I did is I was just following these volumes down, And then as soon as we hit here, boom, you saw this big kind of chunk comparatively. I put my stop right there. So I had already taken one off and my stop was here. And then as B opened up, I, moved my stop down and just got caught, and that kind of ruined the trade for me because it would have been such a better trade. And I actually yelled the F word very loud. My wife came in and she's like, "What happened?" I'm like, "This motherfucking shit." Like, I was just like, it's just so annoying. Like, and that's the thing, I want you guys to know, like, it's not like it doesn't happen to me. The same, you go through the same issues. That's why it's so good to talk to each other about it, because it's the same, it's the same issues. It's not like just one day you're gonna start making every shot. You know what I mean? Steph Curry misses threes all the time.
Yeah, the reason I was asking is because, like, I feel like you have such a bigger scope. Like just that. I mean, that's like a 40-point move for your first take profit. And I've been finding myself getting like so zoomed in, where it's like whatever trade I'm looking at, I'm only looking at like a point or 2 points. And then I don't know, like if it goes backwards a point or two, then I start getting scared. When you're like, that's a huge spread. So I was
Right.
just curious, like, because I feel like I've heard your dad talk about it a few times. It's like throw one lot on, you put your stop below wherever the market structure would have broke or whatever, and then you end up with some 40-point move, and it just seems so much more stress free than over here like staring at the price going up $1 or $2 and then getting scared.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing is, and that's a big thing of switching over to the MES will help with that as a ton, I think. And that's what really helped my dad is when he went to the MES, he's just been, just killing it. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but the what happens is if you're in that kind of form where, because my target, my second take profit was at the low of today, because that was my trade plan, was that we were gonna break either the high or the low and then go for the other side. I just posted the wrong one. I posted the right one before the market opened today, but it was just a little bit late. But I was kind of thinking, because of how the market was looking, that we might get a day like that, where we have like a blow off of inventory and then the market trades lower. Just happened, responsive buyers showed up down here at the low, so didn't really get that continuation that I was looking for. But my second take profit, I wanted that low of the day. It's just I kind of fumbled myself out. And so when you're doing that, and so like when I'm taking so like I said, I put my my stop loss here. If the market starts to turn against me, I'm not just gonna leave my stop loss here and let it run all the way back and then take me out and then go down. I'll cut it and then get back in later, right? The hard thing is, like we're talking about, is you see the trade work, is to just be patient and let it come back to you. Because I have I shorted, let me get this pen off. I shorted at, so I closed that initial short there. Then my next short was at 42.04. So I shorted again in B period, but down here. And you can just, I mean, that already there, I'm forcing it, right? I know I'm forcing it. Close that trade. All right, no, that short was at 42.04 quarter, and I closed the trade at 42.04. Okay. Then I shorted again at 41.96. So closed it at 41.96. Then I shorted again at 41.93, closed that one for a loss, 41.95. Then I shorted again 41.93.50, 41.91.50, and then closed those two 88.75 and 87. So I just was like chip chopping all the way down, and it just wasn't very wasn't a lot of confidence in those trades.
I think that's the thing that I've learned is that when you're looking at a trade and you're like, oh, does it seem right? Does it feel right? Sometimes it's better to hold off on doing an actual trade, going into paper or whatever, I don't know what you guys do as far as, but I'm imagining the same kind of thing, and doing the trade and say, was I right? To build your confidence, to see how, to show yourself that you're actually thinking it correctly, and then play it out in paper and then say, yes, I did it. I would have done it correctly. And then do that over and over and over again so that you're actually to the point where your mind is in the right space.
Right. Look how similar this looks. Right, we had those 3 TPOs kind of lined up. We broke them. Now we want to see continuation here. Remember, volume's weak up here. Buying's coming in the market. This thing could really run. Or C, D, E, F, all one time framing to the upside here.
Yeah, so Brad, like what you were just describing, like all those in and outs, I feel like basically that's what I do all day long is like, okay, get in here looking for a point or two. Okay, get out. Get in looking for a point or two, get out. So it's like half of them work, half of them don't. When I feel like I need like a strategy or like a more broad game plan, like you know, even if that was the only trade you took, I mean, that was like 30 points or something crazy on the first lot. I don't know. I know maybe it can't always be like that, but I just feel like I'm too zoomed in sometimes.
Yeah, and I agree. I think that's what happens a lot. And so try to focus on value, and then the big question to ask yourself is, what's the market trying to do? And so like today, it's not really trying to do anything. It's just balance, I would say, right? We're just in balance. And so as the market gets up to the highs, just try to notice if these buyers are coming in, and if they're not, just fade them, right? And then when you initially fade, right, you need to have a stop. So let's say we're gonna take our stop at the high, or maybe your stop's gonna be the single prints. Let's say you're gonna short the open. So 29 to, what's the high up here? 30, not probably, what was the high? Was it 39? 38. So you're looking at a 10-point stop, and you think, okay, so where's a target that I could go for? Well, I could go back into the point of control, either the TPOC or the VPOC. That's about 15. So that's about like a 1.6 or a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio. The trouble is, I think when you switch to a style where you're looking for more points, what happens is you give yourself this room, but then a lot of times end up cutting trades short when you really gotta exercise that patience for it to go down. A good way to practice that, right, is by learning, because it's nice to start making money right off the bat. But let's say you fade the open, you get short, it comes down a little bit. So then instead of having your stop here, just move your stop to break even, and then just watch, right? You have your take profit at the halfback. You've already made sure that you're not going to lose any money, or you'll lose the 250 that it costs to make the trade. But that's just part of tuition. And then you're looking for that 20-point trade here. And then as it goes down, if you start seeing weakness, right? If you start getting close to your target and you start seeing weakness, the sellers aren't coming in here, then no harm, no foul. Don't cut the trade. But just because it comes like this and then pops back up and gets close, like you can't just be like, oh shit, I'm gonna cut it. You got to let it work out. And if it comes back and takes your open, well, then it wasn't the trade, right? It just wasn't the trade. But you learned a lesson, and when you're dialed in, once you're in the trade, you get dialed in, and you can pay attention to the auction a little bit closer, because you're not actively looking for the trade. It's just you can also get kind of biased on a side. If you're in a short trade or a long trade, you're like, no, this looks good, and it really doesn't. And with the MES, let's say your daily loss limit is $50 right here. Well, you're risking 10 points on a MES, so that would be your max loss limit. So let's say you get short and just fucking comes up. Well, you're just done for the day. You know what I mean? That trade didn't work. Tomorrow's another day, and we'll look for other trades tomorrow. And I completely agree with you. I think that you know that kind of, you know, 1 point here, 2 points there. I mean, they all add up, but it just seems so much more stressful than just kind of waiting for the market to get a little bit overdone, or just not do a good job at what it's trying to do and then kind of fade off.
Yeah. Yeah, like in my brain, like 1 point on the MES, like I'm only losing $5, but in my brain, I feel like I just lost $1,000.
Yeah, I get that.
You know, it's like such a big number, even though it's not. You know, and I don't know why that is, but
That's probably your inner competitiveness, to be honest, TJ. You probably are the type of person that doesn't like to lose, and that's probably what that is, I bet. Are you like that?
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's probably what that is, to be honest. Because I get that. I get a feeling like that as well. I don't care if it's a fucking nickel. I don't want to lose it. I'm like the type of person that, like, when I go to the casino and I play roulette, like, I almost expect my number to get hit every time. I'm like, what the fuck is going on with this board? It's fucked up. I picked this number, like, I'm just like, is the universe not seeing me? Like, hello, double
Yeah, that
zero,
number.
motherfucker. I'm like,
I'm like that super quiet competitive person. So like someone's trash talking, and I'm just like I'm about to whoop you and not say anything to you. Like I'm just that person. Like I'm not gonna
ooh.
say anything or trash talk back. I'm just gonna like whoop you. You know, just that competitiveness, quiet.
See, I'm like hardcore during the game. I talk just the whole time. I'm like fucking Jalen Ramsey, just in your ear like the whole game. But as soon as the game's over, I'm like, yo, good game. Like, you know, just part of the game, because the mental aspect is just part of the game. That's how I used to get people. I used to get people in hockey just to start fights all the time. And in our league, if they started it, whoever started it would get 5 minutes, and then the other person will only get 2 minutes. Oh, I mean, it's not bad. Lead the league in goals and penalty minutes. Volume's coming in up here. Six contracts on that high. VIX is getting smacked right now. Coming down towards the low of yesterday. It's actually below the low of yesterday. It's about to break the low of today. And it's going to break the overnight low. Down below 30 now. See if we're going to fill these single prints here. $17 contracts on that high. Apple's up 3.5%, Microsoft 0.7, Google 2%, Amazon 2.5, Tesla's still negative 3.7, Facebook 16%. They go for the 50. Buying everywhere. Except for energy, it looks like it's coming down a little bit. Financials getting some love. Tech, even Tesla's coming up a little bit. You can kind of feel the emotion in this auction, right? Like, I mean, buyers don't look strong, really, for the most part, right? The market is moving up, but to me, it kind of feels like it's because everyone that's short is nervous, right? They're kind of scared, and I mean, if you think about it, you know, with good reasoning, because if we look at the ES on the daily, zoom this in at all. You know, if we look at the ES on the daily, you kind of see, you know, we've got good excess on the bottom. We opened up, didn't really look for that excess, so that's kind of showing that price is accepted. And then, you know, now the market's moving a little bit higher. The target would become that 4,300. After if the market busts this 4,250, I think that could be the target, and it could just be on the heels of short covering, right? Because there's not a lot of volume up here. And it would make sense to fill in this weak structure up here. To me, it would at least. So, but I 405 contracts on that high right there total. Or high there. If the market can get through these single prints, there could be some capitulation and these sellers could really just start to cover and the market could rally, but still, you know, it's still just kind of struggling a little bit. But we haven't been, you know, in this auction, we really haven't been moving down like we had seen in some of these other auctions, right? Just kind of back and forth. This one's just kind of been up, chill, up, chill, up, chill. And we're getting up here and we're kind of chilling again, so. B period opens up. Now we've got some single prints below, right in the spot that we saw old single prints. Let's see if we're going to hold them here. There's a close of the single prints right to the tick. That actually there's still one more tick up above there. So it closes the single prints below. And then we saw one more tick above. So here's our first pullback. We know that buyers came in, right? Like I said, they came up, they chilled, they came up, they chilled, they came up, they chilled. So we look back and see areas that they bought, you know, probably yesterday's high might be a decent spot, which is the low of those single prints, that 36 quarter. And in reality, it really looks like maybe 35 quarter. And then down back at the open. So it looks like they're still going here, so that's good. Yeah, it looks like right there that 38 was a good spot to get in. A little bit late to get long up here, in my opinion, though. It's just tough, but I do think that there's, you know, there could be some emotion right here. They could get a decent amount of short covering if we start to run. If it runs, it'll probably run quick to 47, I think, maybe. If Bitcoin wants to break out as well. Bitcoin still hasn't broken that previous bar's high. Still seeing them come in here. What we don't want to see for continuation to the upside is a re-entry of yesterday's range, right? So now that we're getting above yesterday's range, we want to see acceptance above yesterday's range. And if we go back inside yesterday's range, if we're looking for a long trade, right? If you're looking for a short trade, you're looking for it to get back in. But if you get back in yesterday's range and you get more volume and the tempo starts to pick up, that could, you know, bring us back into value. We're seeing decent volume up here though. And the market just kind of, you know, hanging out again, right? Moving up and chilling, moving up and chilling, moving up and chilling. Good buying still. See if it gets to that 47 here. Seems like the goal. Google's breaking the. Yep, Google's breaking that upside here. So Google's breaking out from the highs from yesterday. Google has a. Which just gets one tick short of the 47 just to annoy me. Really. Volume still coming in. Bitcoin's still not breaking out yet. Elon Musk's Twitter purchase under scrutiny the information. Musk's failure to comply with rules and regarding disclosure of his initial 9% stake in Twitter is being scrutinized.
He didn't disclose something that everybody knew about.
I mean, he posted on the fucking internet. I feel like everybody knew. He said that he owns 10%, like a couple of days before he decided to buy it. But you know, the news that we get is always late. You know, he probably had that, you know, in the works for months. And remember when the news first came out, I think I was kind of the first one to allude to that, like that I thought he was going to buy Twitter.
Well,
You were.
yeah, I challenge you because I didn't think that the government was going to let him buy it, which they might not.
They still might not. Yeah, they still might not.
But I don't know. You know, he's also like you're saying, using it to drop a bunch of debt that he's got, and which I don't know why he's got debt, but well, I mean, I guess it's not cheap to go to Mars, but
Everybody that's rich has debt. How they got
Yeah.
rich.
right. But not so much excess that you have to buy a company to you know, get it out. And
Yeah.
deal Wall Street on it. Greed is good.
And he's just gonna fire a fuckload of people, I heard. So sucks for them.
Well, I don't know if it was I don't know what it was, but they said that he fired his board, but it's probably just some BS. Hey, did you post that that meme where he hits the checkout button or whatever?
Yeah, yeah, that's the one my wife sent me. That shit was hilarious. With the Amazon. It's like,
where'd you post it?
I posted it just in the general chat.
All right,
It was like, yeah, it was like, he's like, hey, I just bought Twitter, and then he's like, okay, and he's like, Amazon's next, and he's like, good luck, and he's like, add to cart. Let me see where it's at. I can't remember where I posted it at. Somewhere. Getting some decent volume coming in still. All right, we moved up, we've chilled, move up, we've chilled. We're still moving up and still chilling. Bitcoin's looking like it wants to go. Look around the market, you know, pretty much everything is looking green. The tick is looking strong, getting close to a little overdone, but we're not really because we're breaking the high, so I still kind of like it. And the VIX is getting just the old smackarooski right here, so people must be dumping puts for covering.
The other thing I have an issue with Elon is I don't understand what's going on with his family life and stuff. Like, I mean, he does a lot of like podcasts, and more than almost anybody, and he runs all these companies, and then he's got 5 kids, and he never talks about him, never talks about his wife, you know.
He says he only sleeps 4 hours a day.
Yeah, me too. But also he says he sold all his mansions and he lives in a tiny house. So he moved 5 kids into a tiny house and a wife. That sounds, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's possible, but it doesn't sound likely. I mean, they say for every good man, there's a good one behind every good man or whatever, but I don't know. And they have triplets and twins. I mean, lay off the fertility. It's like,
Well, his wife is magic, bro. She is a witch.
I don't ever seen her. She hot?
I haven't seen her either, to be honest with you. I don't know what she looks like. I saw his ex-wife before. I don't know what his new wife looks like.
I mean, if Elon's good at anything, it's fucking time management. I mean, it's off the chart. Have you watched his? He's got like a 3-hour deal where he walks through SpaceX.
The what?
It's like a 3-hour interview where he walks through SpaceX and gets interviewed by some astronaut guy. But super interesting because he walks through all the different. There's a bunch of different buildings and stuff, and he shows what's going on. And I mean, they got a lot of shit going on, man. It's pretty crazy. I was actually surprised how much he knew, because it's not like he's out there designing spaceships. I mean,
Right.
Maybe he is, but it's pretty good if you get a chance. It's like a 3-part thing. It's on YouTube, and it's pretty wild.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. Post the did you post the link in the Discord to it?
No, but I can.
Yeah, shoot that in the Discord. Yeah. So still getting volume up here.
Man, I don't remember the last time I seen it grind up this far, this slow, in one direction. It's been so back and forth the last week.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, if this is just short covering or if buyers are really stepping up here, it's hard to tell. Just looks so weak, but it hasn't really had any, really any pullbacks except for that initial one above those single print.
Is this what it looks like when people aren't selling?
I mean, it's hard to tell here. The volume is just thin.
Say not enough people selling, maybe.
I mean, I don't think anyone's selling. No, there's no responsive selling in here yet. That responsive selling will probably come up here around that 67-ish area, 60 to 67. Maybe up to 6.
It feels a little bit like they're trying to someone's trying to pump it, or some body is trying to pump it so that they get people in, and then of course it'll do its recovery again or drop again.
There's a rip. Damn. I was wondering about such a huge short covering rally. Little struggle fest there. So there's some sellers there on the 58.50. It looks like. So watch that level if the market is able to get back above it, or if it stays below that 58.50. Let's look looking like some sellers actually finally showed their face. The market is looking strong. We're coming back into this old spike right here. This one right here. So we have a previous low that we're getting to right now, and then you have that previous high here at 67.50. So there could be, that could be what people are looking to sell. What's that low here? 250.
I mean, ideally, we just broke out of like a 3-day balance, right? So.
Oh, not yet. We have.
Oh, we haven't. Oh, okay.
Because we're still below that T2 high. So. But I mean, it's getting pretty close. That's.
Yeah, I guess I was thinking more of like the value area.
Yeah, I would say we definitely, definitely breaking out of that for sure. And, there's good odds that we open up this next session on a pretty significant amount of single print.
So what does that mean?
Go with it. It hasn't had this much strength in a while. Yeah, I mean, we're starting to see the tempo pick up a little bit up here, which is, making me think you're starting to get some shorts up here that are getting a little bit nervous. Got the breakout for us before we even had to get off stream for it. Watch this high here. Yeah, normally we have to wait till the stream's over and then get the breakout. Normally interrupts my workout. VIX is breaking the low of yesterday, back down under 28 here. If it gets back below 26, that could really cause some short covering, I think. But notice we haven't taken that A high, right? That's key to notice. When we're getting these big pumps like this, and then that T2 high doesn't get taken, that's a key to notice, right? As far as like what Jim Dalton refers to as market generated information. And this lets you know, right? There's a little bit of weakness up here, right? Or a little bit of responsive selling up here near this high. I don't know where these single prints are from. Oh, and then this day too, that day that we moved down, the day that we moved up at the very end of the day, ended on a spike and then traded significantly lower. This is probably going to be their spot for responsive selling. But I mean, honestly, this is the first step, right? So when we're looking at what the market's trying to do, the market's trying to go up. If the market was doing a good job at going up, it'll take this T2 high. It took the previous day high. Now the next target becomes this T2 high that 2 days ago's high. If it can't take that, and we're getting close, that's telling you you're getting responsive selling right here. Right? And now we're getting below the volume. We know the volume did what we talked about, move up and chill, move up and chill, move up and chill, move up and chill, move up and chill. So as it bids down, these are the levels where we see these higher volume nodules, right? So we see some here, we see some here, we see some here, see them here, see them here. So on this way down, we look for these little spots, and then right once we get back down here, we're just getting into regular volume. But when we're coming back down after we just came up, these are the spots that we watch to see if they fill in, right? So it pounces here, we see a bit of a response. Gonna do little markings on the side, that way you can just kind of have like a general idea of where my eyes are at. Maybe that's what I'll buy. I'll buy those glasses when I move to the East Coast. That will show where my eyes are at, so you can see where my eyes are looking on the screen all the time, and I won't even have to use the mouse. Right here.
Thing.
What's that?
That
Oh yeah, it's a
did not
thing.
know.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's definitely a thing. I mean, I think it's a thing. I'm pretty sure it's a thing. If it's not a thing, someone should fucking do that.
Brad, you care if I run my strategy thought process by you? Get
Of
your opinion
course.
on it.
Yeah, yeah.
So
No, I
just
mind. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
let me know if I'm
No, go for it.
off.
Go for it.
So I don't know. I'm not looking to make like a crazy amount of money, right? Like basically just to supplement some income a little bit, so I'm not like draining the savings account, paying the bills every month or whatever. So like 100, 150 bucks a day, right? It's like 3 points on the ES. So originally my thought process, and this is probably how I got so zoomed in, like we were talking about earlier, is okay, if I can get really good at getting, 3 points a day on the MES, right? Do that consistently. Then you can move to the ES, and do that consistently. And then even if you did want to make more money, you get good at those 3 point trades or whatever. Then maybe you're doing it with 2 lots, and 3 lots or whatever. So that was kind of like the idea. And I was just curious, I guess your thoughts on that, because it's such a like you look at the market and it like moved 100 points, and it's like, geez, it would have been easy to get 3 points out of there somewhere, versus trying to go for these big long moves. So I guess that's probably how I got so narrowed in. So I don't know. I was just gonna run that by you and see what you thought.
I think that's actually a good strategy. I think that the trouble is what happens to people when they have a similar strategy where they're just trying to get a little piece of the pie every day is sometimes you're just not full after that one piece, and you're like, well, that was easy. Especially when you your first trade, you just take a trade and then boom, you're up, you're up right away. You're like, oh well, I can do that again easy. And then
Yeah.
but if you have that discipline to just do that every day, you can do it. I think you're doing yourself a disservice, because I think over time, identifying the auction, you're just kind of cutting yourself a little bit short, where I think that I think it's possible to just trade one lot a couple of times and get way more than 3 points with and only doing good risk management, right? And then another thing is when you do switch to the ES, you get in your routine, and then some days where you have kind of like yesterday. Like yesterday was really back and forth, really volatile and choppy.
Yeah.
If you don't recognize a day like that where you need to take some risk off, so let's say if your normal entry is like 3 lots, um, if you don't notice that early on that today is going to be like that, you can really get cut up bad on choppy days. And so I don't know. I don't want to deter you from something like that, because I do think it is a good strategy and I do think it is definitely possible. But I just think that the potential for for more is there. And I don't want you to cut yourself short.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
And then, I mean, like if you're trading, you know, if you're identifying these key areas and working with it on the MES, you know, you start to get used to hitting these 10-point moves. You know, it just becomes, you know, second nature, that unconscious consciousness. And when you switch to the ES, you know, however long it takes after you build up the account, yeah, I think you'll be good. I honestly think that what you're trying to do on like supplement your income, right? Can easily be done on the MES every single day.
Can I throw in my 2 cents?
What's that?
Can I throw in my 2 cents?
Sure.
I don't. Yeah, I don't really know if I subscribe to just having a goal for like 150 or whatever. Because you have to take, at least for me anyway, you have to take advantage of the days that you're hot. You have hot days and not hot days, you know, especially like in sports and stuff. So, you know, if you're going to limit yourself, you know, I think on days that you're kicking ass, you should keep going. You know what I mean? And then days, you know, keep going, you're having a shit day, and those are the days that you know what I mean? You don't trade as much. But I mean, I couldn't imagine having a day where you're hitting all cylinders and then say, all right, I'm done. You know what I mean? I made my 150, and that's just me, I guess. I don't know.
No, that's I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I mean, like it's just that you've got to have limitations. So let's say if your goal is that 3 points, right? And let's say your first trade you make 6 points, right? Your next trade you make another 3 points, and now you're up 9 points, right? The issue here is what happens is people get on a hot day and they get back down to 3 points, and instead of just cutting it and saying, you know what, I got what I was here to, you know, I got what I came here to get, time to go, right? I gave it a little try, it didn't work out. I got what I came here to get, and now I'm done. The having the intestinal fortitude or the psychology to do that, to walk away from the table or pass the ball when you you know, you make your first 3 jumpers and then all of a sudden you start just laying bricks and you get back to kind of where you were started. You've got to have that ability to shut it down, and a lot of people, you know, it's a tough spot, and as easy as it is to talk about, it's a completely different thing to put it into play. It's a lot easier to say that, you know, if I'm up 3 points and then I get up, you know, X amount of points, I'm gonna get off no matter what at that 3 points. That's why you have a lot of traders, professional traders on desks that have their software has the limits built in. You know, there is no opportunity for them to go against that because they've set up their system to make sure that they can't, because they know what they'll do. They know that they'll be like, oh, I can do it.
Yeah, it's like the battle of the mind.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like being in a bad trade and trying to saying, oh no, or saying, oh, I'll get out when it breaks even.
Exactly.
And then you don't. And then it goes down and you're down $50. Oh, I'll get out when it hits 100. And then you're down 100. And it's that same thing. You're chasing your tail at that point. It's one thing to look at something and say, I'm going to let it go down 100 and know that going in, and then watching the indicator saying, yes, I feel like it's going to come back. So I'm just sort of allowing the trade to execute based on what I believe is going to happen, versus you're chasing your tail.
Well, it's not so much chasing your tail as in you just don't want something like that. It's more like you just don't want the loss. You know what I mean?
That's in the end, it's the same.
You gotta, and that's the thing is, it over time when you get better at this, you're gonna understand days where, you know, oh, okay, I'm seeing the market really well today, I can add some size, and then you're gonna trade. But you know, if you get in a trade and it just goes 3 points, hits your take profit, and then just comes right back to your entry, you know, well, okay, I won the trade, but did it necessarily do exactly what I thought it was going to do? And that comes into play when you don't have, you don't have stop losses and you don't have targets. That is coming into to gambling. You know what I mean? Like it's such a fine line between making a good bet and betting on emotion, right? Like let's say we think this trade is going to go down, but is it going to go down from here enough to where I want to get in right here, or do I want to wait and get into a better spot? You know what I mean? And if you're, if a lot of times, like when I'm already up for the day, especially if I'm up for the week, right? Because I track my goals daily, weekly, monthly goals. If I'm up for the week or up for the month, I'm gonna be tight. I don't take, whatever it is. I don't need a lot. Like I said, what's $500 a day is 120 grand, 125 grand a year. If you can't live off 125 grand a year, what the fuck are you doing, man? You know what I mean?
So are you saying like it would be better to play the MES and look for those longer trades, like
100%.
those
Yep.
10-point trades or whatever?
I
You
mean,
would say
so take the number off. Don't even worry about that number, right? You have your daily goal, right? But you have so let's say your daily goal is 3 points, okay? 3 points. And right here, we're getting another poor high. We haven't broken this high, and you're for some reason just thinking this thing's gonna fade, right? It doesn't look like it, but we're doing a for instance. And 3 points down from 64 is 61. But your target naturally would be, probably 59, right? So as it comes down to your target, that's when you're looking to go, right? Even if your target is 3 points, let's just say for instance we thought that it was going to come back down to 42.50, right? And so when it comes down past here and we're 3 points in profit, just move that thing to 3 points and then let the play work out. You know what I mean? And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. It just is going to come, it's just going to come with time. Or if it comes back up and stops you out and then goes, at least you're still covering your 3 points that you're looking for and getting your daily goal. The worst thing is when you're trying to let this trade work out, you're short here, it comes up past your daily goal and does one of these and then comes back up and gets your stop when you could have locked in your daily goal, but you got too hopeful for this. I mean, it's such a fine line, and that's one reason, like, it's so hard. When I was posting all those crypto trades, I would get so many messages like, hey, what's your stop, what's this, what's that? And it's like, there's so much that's going on in the moment that you have to take care of, that it's so almost impossible to be like, hey, this is going to be my entry, this is going to be my stop. That's just not how trading works, unfortunately, right? Everyone, we want that. We want structure. It's just human nature to look for that, or to kind of just assume that's what it's going to be like, because that's what everything else is like in life, right? Any job that you have, there's like, this is the time you get here, this is what you're going to be doing. I mean, sometimes at work you're not doing shit, but you're still there. It's in the market, it's just not like that. You know what I mean? There's no set parameters. Like one reason I don't like to set trades overnight is because
I wanted to do in the first fucking place.
What happened?
Sorry, bro.
Oh, you're good. Thank you, Hutum Chris Mon. I don't know. I'm not very good with names, so, but thank you for liking the video on Facebook. But you know what I mean? Like, it's just there's just such there's just so much emotion in the market that it's so hard to set specific things like that. But I do think that, it is better long term to be trying to identify bigger trades and using lower leverage than these small scalps, right? And
Yeah, that's basically what it's been is like you're scalping, you know, so you have to have really good entries or, you know, you're going to lose 2 points and now you're negative 2 points trying to get to 2 points or, you know, whatever.
right. Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'm just trying to be, you know, less greedy than the next guy. So like if the target's 42.60 or whatever, I'm going to take mine like, you know, a few points ahead of that because I want to make sure, you know, I get my
You get
points.
paid.
Whatever.
Yep.
That's like always been the mentality. It's like, okay, if I can be less greedy than everybody else, you know, whatever. But at the same time, you know, you want to, I guess, identify your target so you can know if you're right or wrong.
Right. And remember all the hard work that you're putting in. So you don't need to be less greedy than everyone else. You just need to work your trade plan. Don't even, don't even think about everyone else. Look at the chart and see their reactions, but you know, don't worry so much about being less greedy than everyone else, because in this business, trying to have good karma doesn't do shit for you, if I'm being honest. You know, as much as I would love to, you know, be like, as long as we're doing good karma, we should be getting good results. It's just, fortunately, you've got a bunch of fucking bloodthirsty savages in the trading world.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's why I was just trying to be happy with my 3 points because, you know, it's easy to get on a hot streak and, you know, you keep feeling like you're getting it and it's, you know, it's never enough. And then you end the day and you're like down 10 points. It's like, geez, what just happened?
Right. And then it becomes just a huge waste of a day.
Yeah. Then you're trying to fight. You can want to keep trading to try to get back to where you started or where you were.
Yeah, I'm terrible with revenge trading. In fact, revenge trading is probably my worst thing I have to fight.
If that's what your thing is, your favorite button is just going to be the power button. Just turn it off. If you get pissed off while you're trading, don't even look at the chart, because the chart's going to show you something that's not even there, like an oasis. You're going to be like, you're going to just lose a short, let's say, or just lose a long, and then as soon as you get back on, it's going to be going. Or vice versa, right? You just lost a short and you're like, well, fuck, I'm just going to go up because the market wants to go up. And as soon as you get long, the fucker comes right back down, and that the best thing you can do in that situation is just turn it off. Turn it off,
Yeah.
walk away.
I just have a set of rules that I've been working in, and when I do my rules, I do well. And one of them is just 20 minutes between each trade. So
Oh, there you
every
go.
trade before I do another trade. So
That's cool. I like that. Yeah, I like that.
Get out of a trade to want to just get right back into one.
Because that's what I do. I go well before I met you guys. I would go back into twice as much and try to win it back. Then it'd be
Right.
down exponential, and yeah, just keep getting uglier and uglier until I met you guys. Saved my life.
Well, glad that we could help.
Brad's changing the world, one person at a time.
Pop, what happened? I heard the F-bomb.
I'm yeah. So I just expected it to pop right there, and it did, but I set a buy limit order just above where all that absorption was happening. But I'm watching the ES chart and I'm trading the MES, so it must have just popped on the MES and picked me up and then stopped me out. But then I set it up again, only I set it up a tick higher, and so basically it bought me in before it popped. Or
Okay.
yeah. And then it bounced back down and stopped me out, and I was like, what the hell? I didn't even hit my bid, but then it did. So I paid fees because I bought back what I just sold.
That happened to me like a couple weeks ago where the price like never went below like $40 or whatever. So and I had like a sell stop or something like that, like $2 under where the price went, and it like filled my order for some reason. It was weird.
Yeah, we have some old single prints here. It's only like 2 ticks of single prints. Let's see if it goes up after them. And an old settle apparently I never took off the chart. Near the top of the spike.
Do you have to manually type those words in every time? Because I tried saving mine and it only saves like the color of the line. It won't save the name.
Well, there's a way to do it. You have to go on, I don't remember how, but if you just Google it, it's on there. Yeah, because I have mine saved. Like, so if I go like this, I have them all saved as like different things.
Yeah, that's what mine looks like, and I put the config name down there, but like there was
You have to go in the global settings and enable something for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you talking about your lines, labeling your lines?
Yeah.
Go to, like, if you right click it and then you click onto the line, it has that little floating thing that has, you know, the colors and the, you know, the set button, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So on the far left of that is a thing that says template, and you hit that, and then each line is a different template, so you can make each line say, you know, it's the daily, you know, POC, whatever, it's, you know, yesterday's whatever, and they have different colors. And so then when you go to do a line, you just hit the template instead of, so you hit Alt H, which draws the line, and then you hit the template button and pick whichever. Have like a 4-hour, daily, a weekly, you know. That make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I have like 20 different templates, whatever. Just each different line is a template.
Apple's up almost 5%. Google's up 5%. Amazon almost up 5%. Microsoft 2%. Facebook 17%. Nvidia 7%. Tesla's almost back to green.
What?
Yeah, Tommy, that's a good point too. Tommy said that, you know, if you're only looking for 3 points, you also have to have a really tight stop to manage risk, right? So if you're only looking for, you know, let's say you're looking for those 3 points, in order to give yourself good risk to reward, you're you know, maybe 2 points or maybe 1.5 points. Even if you're doing a 50-50, 3, that just means you have to win more trades than you lose. You know, and with the volatility there, it's tough. You'd have to have perfect entries. Because even if you get in a trade and you take heat in the trade and you take more heat than profit that you get from that trade's not a good trade. Don't convince yourself just because you won the trade that it was a good trade. Right? Like I've always said, you know, you can win a trade and have it not be a good trade. Trades that make money doesn't mean they were good. It just means that they made money. Yeah, Mr. Red, we are looking for that high. Really getting into that spike from Monday. This was that push to look up in higher value and wasn't able to get up there. And we're getting into this you know, this weak structure up here. It would make sense to fill it in. It'll keep going. Okay, Google's taking off. Okay, Apple's taking off. Facebook still not above yesterday. Tesla still on. Coming back up to that Monday high as well. Do this. So Apple's above the Monday high. Market's pulling down. Google. below. Did Google break?
Hey, Brad, how do you treat those singles from Monday? Because those singles were to the upside.
These single prints? Yeah. So
Yeah.
so I just want to see if, because when the market we rallied up, and then as soon as the market closed, it kind of moved down and just kind of stayed right here, but we never traded back up to it. So what I'm assuming is, there was probably, there was definitely selling here, and then someone got stopped out. And so the next day with this, they're probably, that person that was, pushing that long here is probably gone. They probably liquidated off the open, which is why we got that liquidation. For these, I just like to keep them on just to see if we see a reaction at that level,
Okay.
right? Just to see how they get filled in. But this is kind of a nuancing event, and that's actually a good eye right there. Nuancing, like, as far as why is it why are we under those single prints when those single prints were to the upside? That's a very good observation. Oh, it's only 10:18. Trump on duty, plug in charge. Tesla's recharging low battery. So watch for acceptance up here. We have still about 13 minutes until the next session opens up, but watch for acceptance above this T2 high. Just got to keep, that's all you got to do is just, once you get in a trade, is you really just got to focus on monitoring for continuation. So if you're in a long trade and you are suspecting the market's going long, which is why you got in a long trade, is it doing a good job of going the way that you want it to go, or is it just not doing shit, right? Or is it coming against you? Oh, would you say his wife's music's name is Grimes, the song player, If Games? What do you mean, DJ? Ray-Ban came out with some?
Brad, can you explain like what you look at to monitor for continuation,
So what I'm looking for is I'm looking for these key spots where volume's coming in, and then I key in on weak spots of structure, because, and I know it's probably inversely to how everyone else looks at the volume profile, because I know everyone, they're looking for these kind of volume nodules. I like to find these weak points of structure to see how it reacts, right? Because we know there's buyers here, we saw them, and so as we come back and we jumped over, right? So we had a little bit of capitulation here by some sellers who had to hurry to get out of their position, right? Which is why all of a sudden we're seeing, a drop off in volume, right? And if we're just counting, by thousands, you can imagine the volume profile like this, right? And it'd be great if it just did this, because then you can kind of see, right? Yeah, it's 5,000 bigger than 3,000, but it's still 1,000. And so as price comes back down to this weak spot, are some of these buyers that were buying here and buying here going to move up and fill in this opportunity? Because what happens is they didn't get a chance to buy right here. So now that the market comes back down, since they didn't get a chance the first time, are they going to do it a second time? Imagine your computer monitor goes on sale. It's normally $500. It goes on sale for $250, and you didn't get a chance to buy it because everyone else scooped them all up. and it's back up at 500, and then all of a sudden a couple weeks later it's back down to 250. Do you still like it at that, or are you thinking, why is it back down at 250? And so I'm monitoring to see, is that what they're doing? Is that what they're keying in on? And a lot of times too is like, where I'm normally not this zoomed in, like on my TPO on my other screen looks like this. It looks like this. This is what I'm looking at on the other screen. It's like, really wide, because my screen's like 40 inches wide. But that's what I'm looking at. And so when I'm looking at something like this, I'm not paying attention to these individual numbers. Why I think order flow really doesn't matter that much. I'm just looking at this chunk right here that's coming in. And as we get back down to this weak volume, are we still going to keep building a chunk? And if we're not going to keep building a chunk, where's the next chunk down to find buyers? And it's here. That's inside yesterday's range. Well, they're not doing a very good job, because if they were doing a good job, they would hold it outside of yesterday's range. Now, if we come back down inside yesterday's range and see a nice pop, well, I like that. Right? If I'm looking for a long, I'm not in a trade right now, but if I'm looking for a long, I like that. But if we come back in down here and then just kind of start to hang out, I don't like that at all. Right? And that's kind of that's basically all I'm doing. I don't really use any other charts. Like, I sent you guys my my layout. Besides the DOM, there's really not anything else that I'm looking at. I look at Thinkorswim a lot, so I'm looking at this, right? And so for when I'm looking at this, I'm seeing like every sector is green, the breadth is good. I get to see the percentages of things that are up, right? I'm looking at the tick, and the tick, just to me, you're seeing the market get it a little bit overdone here. And so what we'd like to see is buyers step up. You can see we're making higher lows, so buyers are stepping in sooner and sooner. Are they going to keep going up? But all of these things are in confluence with each other. You can't just, use the tick by itself, and you can't just say because all the sectors are green that the market's going to go up. It's you've got to use them all in confluence, and you've got to make sure that you don't get micro focused on, there's so many nuances. So if you get micro focused, or if you learn one nuance really well, right, you become an expert at it, but then other spots are a little bit weaker in your trading, you can get stuck, and it can cause you to put blinders on and only see what you're wanting to see, which is why I like to look at the profile. I like to look at it like I mean, a little bit bigger than this, but I like to look at it zoomed out. I'm gonna have to struggle when we traveling looking at it on the laptop.
Yeah, it seems like when you keep it zoomed out like that, helps keep the bigger trade perspective.
Perspective. That is the key word, my man.
They have 4K portable monitors, just FYI.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's not a huge monitor. It's only, I think the one I have is 15 or 16 inch, but it's a 4K monitor.
Oh, okay.
You can get that attachment that goes on your laptop where it puts like an iPad on each side of your screen. You got like a 3-screen setup.
Yeah, that's what I ordered. Don't tell my wife, because she said we don't need those.
Not a matter of need. I want it.
Yeah, well, it is a need. I need them. That's what I told her. I'm like, I might get another one that attaches to the top, and I got 2 screens up and 2 screens to each side. The only thing is the laptop is sometimes like, I mean, this laptop is good. Just sometimes the buffering rate when we stream. Even though I used to stream from my laptop from outside of my house on the Wi-Fi when my in-laws were here, so it shouldn't have any issue. Hopefully. We can be trading across America. I'm gonna start my own TV show like Guy Fieri. Yeah, if this thing breaks back below 42.65, that's where I'll start to get a little bit a little bit nervous because it seems like these are mechanical buyers to me buying the G high. That just kind of makes me nervous. What do we got? We got 4 minutes until the next period opens up. Get some stretching in. Been sitting for 2 hours now. Well, longer than that probably.
Yeah, I got to get better at that. I feel like I'm too young for my like back to be stiff. Like I can barely touch my toes.
Well, you know what the worst part actually is? Me and Tommy were talking about this. It's your hips. Dude, my hips get so tight from just sitting in a chair. I feel like I'm just like old man.
Yeah. Yeah, if I got to pick up something off the ground, it takes me a second.
That's the thing. As you get older, you got to remember that you can't just fucking rip stuff around. You got to lift it the right way. I've been working a lot on ankle mobility.
I know somebody who sneezed and threw out his back.
Bro, we're gonna have to have a Trade Vets pickup game of basketball one day.
Oh, definitely. That'd be fun. We'll make sure we bring ice and Motrin for after, because we'll all probably be sore as hell.
Right? Have you always traded the ES like your main thing, or did you start somewhere else?
I started with options. Yeah, I started with options.
I don't know why options are just so confusing to me. It's like the words are different, and everything's different. And I don't know. It just seems weird.
It's just it's and especially weird because you can short a put or long a put. You know, it's just like such a complicated. It's like almost like double work.
So it's like, what's the difference in shorting a put and long in a call or something?
So
like
so if you're short a put, you expect the market to go up. So so a put, when you buy a put, you're expecting the market to go down. When you buy a call, you're expecting the market to go up. But you can short those options as well, which means like, so somebody is buying a put thinking the market's going to go down, and you sell it to them because you don't think the market's going to go down, you think it's going to go up. And then, you know, that it's kind of like an inverse, and it just becomes kind of complicated. And in reality, you know, a big reason that kind of drew me to the ES is I don't have to worry about. There's a lot of stuff going on with options besides direction, right? Because you can get into an option and the market can move in your direction and you can still not make any money, right?
That's what I was going to say. So, so there's different factors that come into play with how an option is priced, and a call. If you're selling a call versus buying a put, so even though both of those are expecting the market to go down, the profit for one of them can be different than the profit for the other. So it's sometimes more advantageous to sell a call when you expect the market to go down, because your rate of return is going to be higher based on they're called the Greeks, but those values have an effect on how much money you make based on how far it goes.
So like, what makes you choose options over just trading the ES? Like, if you're still betting on it going the same direction, you know, is the profit better on one than the other?
Options are leveraged. Yeah, they're leveraged 100 to 1, because one option contract is 100 shares. So a lot of times, it's just more advantageous to trade the option because you don't have to put up as much premium. So like if you wanted to trade Apple, you would have to, or let's just say even if you wanted to trade Google, options on Google are expensive AF. But if you wanted to trade Google, and let's say to make money, you need to have 100 shares or 200 shares. Well, buying 100 shares of Google is going to cost you a pretty penny. whereas buying an option contract is not. The difference is if you buy Google shares and the market goes against you, you still have the Google shares. If you buy an options contract and let's say you spend $1,000 to get 300 shares worth of contracts, which you won't on Google because Google's expensive as fuck, but and it goes against you, well, guess what? That money is gone, and now you don't have anything.
It's about rate of return. I mean, if you have one share of something, you'll make, let's say, it's $100 share and it moves $5, you made $5. If you buy options for that same stock, if it moves $5, I mean, your investment, let's say, is $400 or whatever it would be. If it moves $5, you're probably in the 100% return.
Oh yeah, especially if it moves with some steam.
Yeah, so it's all about how you I mean, it's definitely more volatile, and he's right. When you are done, when you're out, I mean, when you lose, you don't have the stock to lean back on. You're stuck. So at least if you have the stock, if it changes tomorrow, you're still owning the stock, but you have to sell it to get that $5 with an option. If it doesn't make money, you're going to lose whatever you put in, but if it makes money, you get it out whenever you decide to sell it, or whenever you have to, I guess.
And like this is he's just giving it in the simplest form, like he was talking about the Greeks. You need like, there's people that are experts at the option chain. They know how to find misplaced or mispriced options, because every once in a while the option chain will misprice some options, and these dealers will sell options for too cheap, and you can take advantage of them. Or if you hear some news before it actually hits the wire, before the market responds, like if we look at here, I'll show you a perfect example. Is yesterday that Facebook news came out, right? Yesterday this Facebook news came out, and everyone thought the earnings was going to crush it, and it was going to go down, and it just kind of chilled right here. If we look at what price level is this, 172. The fuck? Oh, I'm on the VIX. I was like, look at 172 call. Damn, they're expensive as fuck. So here is the chart. 30 minutes. Let's look at 5 minutes. Okay, so here's yesterday when these options, when Facebook was at 172, these options were selling for $1,100, right? Today they're selling for $3,500. So anyone that bought a call right here, right, is up 200% plus on that trade. Whereas if you had to buy shares at 172, I mean, let's say if you bought, let's just say you bought 100 shares, because this is just looking at one option. So 172 times 100 is 17.2, and then we times that, right, by, you'd have to times it by 3, because that's the rate, or you have to times it by 200, I guess. So times 2, 3,400. I mean, your shares would have to go up to like 372. You know what I mean? But also inversely of that, right? If you buy these options here for $1,100 and Facebook didn't go up, this thing could just get completely crushed. If we look at a longer, well, these options are relatively new apparently. Back to the beginning. If we look at some, some weekly options, let's say, or I mean some monthly options. Look at these 172. I mean, kind of similar, I guess, here. Facebook options don't really get a lot of love except for during earnings season. But I mean, you could even see today, like, I mean, just today, this option right here that we're looking at opened up at 36 bucks, came all the way down to 24 bucks, and is now back up at 35 bucks, you know? So that's a big fluctuation that you have to, you know, you've got to be comfortable with as well. It takes, it's tough on options also because the way that this market is set up, you know, goes by pennies. You know, let's say you have a sell order in, you bought that thing for 11 bucks and you have it in for 35 bucks, let's say 35.00, and this thing, you know, the highest buyer only goes up to 34.99. Well, there's no deal here, right? So you might not be able to sell that, and then you have to start chasing, or you have to sell the bid, you know. And you know, it's tough with options because it's sometimes quick. It's not about getting to that level where, you know, the market moves up to this level here and you get filled. That's just not how it works. It's not as
More volatile.
Yeah,
period.
it's not. Yeah, it is, because it's leveraged. You know, it's just I don't. It was more stressful for me. I still trade options a lot. It's just I'm very, very more patient with them. So fun. We start to look at the ES on a daily chart here. Look at this. Title these drawings. Okay. Right, we had balance. We broke down, and now we're forming this B profile. Right, so we've had the liquidation, but we won't confirm new money selling until we break out of this lower balance. Right, so we're forming this balance low, and we look here, we can see this is kind of where we've been looking back towards this high here at 43.03 as the top of balance. This was kind of a peak above balance and traded back in, and this is the balance area that I keep highlighting on the trade plan like this. And so until we get continuation, we can just assume that this was just, you know, this is just liquidation down here, and we'll probably get more of this until that break out in either direction. I wouldn't be surprised if they just rip this thing back to the upside, or they bring it back. Green coming in all over the market right here. There's still one time framing up. Remember, one time framing up all the way from that C low. Haven't really looked back, to be honest with you.
Yeah, when I was looking at it a while ago, like ever since we got above those single prints around like 42, 41 or whatever, man, never looked back. Guess when that G came down and hesitated for a second above that A period, it would have been a nice little entry.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been a good one. I'll be right back.
he comes back and it dips all the way down, he's gonna be mad.
I'm back. Yeah, I would have been mad though. I mean, that eye low is mechanical here. And then I still don't like this G low, to be honest with you. I'm not a fan of it. And I wouldn't be surprised if we get a flush into the close. You know, we've got Apple up 4%, Microsoft 2%, Google 3.9, Amazon 4, Facebook's 18, you know, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see profit taking towards the end of the day with Apple and Amazon reporting earnings today.
Which seems like it would have a pretty decent impact on the rest of the market.
Yes, definitely will. Here, come on, kitty. The kiddo. She's over here making that noise. That she was over here making that noise. This cat makes this weird ass noise. She goes, like, what is that? We can see the first spot starting to form where buyers need to step up, right? It's right here. 81, right? Buyers need to step up above that to get this continuation. We get below here by too much, you'll probably start to develop a little half pipe up here. See if they can look for those single prints. But remember, we do have single prints below, H and G period single prints. A pretty significant amount of single prints in G, which, you know, not surprised, no surprise there. Looks like absorption here by buyers trying to buy up. Buyer's still holding on right here. Resistance 80 here. And support 76. Watch that 592 level. That's the level we were talking about here. Let's see buyers fill this in at 81. Yeah, the volume is super light. Sounds like something MM would do. Yeah. Well, I mean, it just makes sense. I don't know if there's really a lot of, I mean, there might be late retail traders buying up here probably, but they're, they're, they easily could run it up, right? Some people could just expect good earnings. They could be buying up Apple. Apple comes out, puts up good earnings, and then boom, the market just rallies to the upside super hard. You know, you can't rule that out. You know, it would make sense if they take profit and protect some, but you know, they could also, there's other ways to position against counter move without really affecting the market. And a lot of these, you know, bigger players, you know, they know what they're doing. Volume's been increasing though. It's about 3% higher than it was yesterday at this time. So not able to get above that 80 this time. Let's see as they offer or bid back down to see buyers are stepping back in here. He's doing pretty good today. Should have played it. About this. So slipping back down a little bit here. Watch for the buyers to step back in on that 75 again. We had some buyers. Yeah, there they go. We had some buyers up there at the 80 and they just weren't able to hold. So we're going to bid back down to the 75. See if buyers are still looking for looking to buy. Buyers are still trying to step in here. And there was decent support through this area. As you can see, like, you know, we have volume. We get this little ledge, and the ledges are not really something I'm a huge fan of, but you have some decent support, you know, down here, even here. Like, I mean, there's decent little spots that the market could backfill. It's just this eye low is mechanical, so I wouldn't be surprised if it breaks this low, tests this weak volume, and that's where we could get an opportunity to either get into a long trade or possibly fade the market to finish closing those singles. And then, you know, with target below down to these weak levels. But I'm not really a buyer right here or a seller. Also, shout out to you guys. You guys have been doing an awesome job on liking the video. We've hit like 20 likes every single day, so appreciate it. Natural gas is down by 5%. Dang. Thanks, Uncle.
I didn't even know you had a Facebook group.
Oh yeah. Yeah, James created all of the social medias for us when we first started. Yo, Tommy, are you still in here? Did you see that? Oh, he's still in. Did you see that Tyson Fury wants to fight Francis Ngannou with a boxing match, but with MMA gloves? I don't think Francis Ngannou knows what he's getting into. I mean, yeah, he's got one punch that could put you to sleep, but fucking Tyson Fury is a fucking gypsy. You know, bare knuckle boxing is probably something that he grew up doing. So those little gloves aren't going to do anything but help him not break his hands, which is really what they're designed to do. wonder if I can. Does anyone know if on your DOM on CR charts, if you can have a column refresh, like the pulling and stacking column? Wonder if you can have it refresh like every amount of seconds. Nice thing about CR charts too is that their user manual is very easy to navigate. $5 years ago today, Bitcoin was $1,300 and ETH was only 80.
Insane.
Elon Musk just tweeted this right here. Such a fucking cool. J period opens up. So as of now, we have good excess on the upside. Let's see if we get continuation. We're still one time framing up, but there is excess now. So you want to see excess holds until it doesn't. That last volume was high. Volume in I period was up about 4% from yesterday, 4.5% from yesterday. J Lowe's mechanical now, right at that I half back. Didn't work. It's really just kind of deciding what it wants to do here. Sellers look to be moving down here. See if they want to go for that that J low. There goes that J low. Still mechanical though. Oh. Right back down to that 75. Find some buyers again in the same spot right here. Oh, it's the picture. Still not a lot of continuation here. We keep getting like right to that 80 and then keep kind of falling back down, but volume is starting to fill in. So once we kind of spill over that 80, we should get some upside if it's able to maintain here. Just looks, you know, looks to be dying momentum. Buyers seem to step up in the 79 level here. Let's see if they hold it again. Yeah, the market just seems to be kind of stalling all over. Apple seems to be kind of coming into a little bit of resistance. Amazon, similar, hasn't passed that that level that we're looking for. Microsoft, same kind of thing, looking to get up into this gap up here. And this is the kind of this kind of thing too. This is kind of what makes me nervous about a big short covering rally is when we're looking at stuff like this. I mean, Facebook, if it starts, you know, it's getting some gas here, it could, you know, if you could see a lot of shorts start to cover once this thing starts to get going. And if Tesla turns green, market might decide to go up. So watch this up at the top here. Starting to get the spillover. See if they can get it. There's a little bit of continuation. They stepped in on the 81.75. Come back down, still there. Sellers look to be moving down. Watch the 79 level. That's the original spot that buyers kind of popped in. And it looks kind of tough to call. Looks like buyers are kind of running scared here, but they're holding for now. So holding 79 for now. Ugh. All right, guys. I think I'm gonna call it here. It's starting to get pretty slow, and maybe they're just waiting for us to end it so they can make the next move. You know, been happening like that. We got a nice move today, so we'll get a nice move later on. Time is it? It's 11. Yeah, I'm gonna catch a workout. I'll probably be back on the computer around 12 o'clock. If anyone has any questions or anything, just, you know, shoot me a message in the Discord, and we'll see what we got going on. I'll post any updates if I see anything good. But other than that, you guys have a wonderful day. Make sure that you are managing risk and sticking to your trade plan. Make sure if you don't have a trade plan that you make a trade plan. You know, if you're one of those people out there that is having trouble with the psychology, believe me, having a trade plan can help that out a ton. Other than that, yeah, you guys have a wonderful day, and I will catch you guys later.